Cameron McAdoo, Daytona. I feel like it was a great night, although maybe you are win or bust in your mind and you're pissed about that. So how do you reflect on round 3?
I think I've approached it as win or bust and be, frustrated or mad about getting a second, especially after leading in the past. Not tonight. I really don't feel that way. Obviously I really wanted to win, but this year I've really just been trying to take it in and being grateful for the position that I'm in. Grateful to have nights like these, and yeah, like Tom had pace tonight. Even before I made a couple mistakes, there were some areas where he was making some time on me, and I didn't really know what he was doing. It was kind of hard. There were so many different lines on the track, so I knew we were gonna take it to the end. Obviously, I had 2 big moments in the one rhythm section that put me off the track and gave him a little bit of a gap. And then once that kind of happened, I realized that in order to win the race tonight, I was going to have to push maybe a little bit beyond my limits, and I've done that in the past, and it's never really panned out at the end of the whole thing, So tonight, second was the best I was going to get, and I did my best. So I was proud of my ride.
Once you were behind Tom, did you see anything good that he was doing? Did you pick up on any lines?
Yeah, honestly, the one rhythm section that goes, it was like after the start or after the mechanics area, I was going quad, triple on to this tabletop and then off and then doubling over a 5-footer. And that was like a pretty big line. It was pretty much what we were doing when it was dry. Yeah. But for me to double over the 5-footer, it was extremely hard for me to execute that. And I guess I wish I would have picked up on that a little bit earlier to know that I'm not going to be able to do that every time. And that was where I clipped that and went off the track twice. And then once he got by me, I realized he was going double, just jump the tabletop and then double and triple out of the section. And that was like way faster. It was just flowy. And so little stuff like that, I was like, really? Like that was what was better? And there was a few inside lines that he was doing that I wasn't quite ready to do yet, and I probably should have picked up on a little bit earlier. So there was definitely a couple lines that I saw, and he was just executing some stuff better, I think, than I was able to tonight.
You mentioned the difference in your mentality this year. Did you notice that last year and other years you've been too emotional with your results and ridden the wave a little bit too much?
Definitely. I've definitely ridden the wave. Even, honestly, like 2021 was the first time I started having some, championship leading success or being on the podium. And then 2022, I had a great year and I had something, what was a minimal crash in press day that was completely separated my shoulder. And then last year, I had an unfortunate thing happen to me that was a little bit out of my control. It was out of my control. But beyond that portion, like riding the wave a little bit too much. I think a couple times last year, Hampshire passed me on the last lap, and I would just be so mad, and I would just be, so fired up, but at the same time, like I look back on that, and I'm like, man, after I did get hurt and I wasn't able to race all year, I'm like, I wasn't as grateful as I should have been for being on the podium, getting third. And kind of just my story from when I was a kid, I would have never imagined, my family would have never imagined, we would have never imagined me being here. So I need to be grateful for everything I got every time. And that's how I've been approaching it this year, going to the races, even, flying in on Thursday and Friday, hanging out in whatever city we're in with my wife, grabbing a coffee and getting a nice breakfast, like just appreciating the process and the whole portion of my job. Like, this is awesome. So I do definitely have a bit of a different mindset, and I think that comes as you get a little bit older. Everyone's always told me that, when you're young, when I was young especially, like I just had to be so locked into the only thing I could think about was a result.
Yeah.
And that's what got me here, But now I think that if I can keep my mind off that a little bit, aside from when I'm racing, I can really laser focus in it and get the best out of myself.
Last one, how actually are you at the moment? Because I saw you in the pits in Arlington, and you were limping bad.
Yep.
So how actually are you doing?
I came into Detroit with a couple weeks back on the bike, and I did miss all of December riding, most of January, so I was behind the eight ball. I didn't really talk about it much before, but it was one of those where I wasn't hiding it, but I just didn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
Like if I was asked in a press conference about it, yeah, like I separated my shoulder. But then in the first turn in Detroit, my leg got stuck in between mine and Seth's bike, and hyperextended my leg pretty bad, and I did some damage to my knee, and I have a fracture in my tibia, actually, like in the top of my tibia, and so I beat my knee up pretty bad, and then we had that 3-week break, which was I needed. So I didn't get much riding before Dallas, and we've got it to where I can manage it pretty well, as long as I can manage the swelling in it each day, and a lot of therapy with Doc G and whatnot, but it's coming around. It's not perfect, but at the same time, that's also another thing that I've learned with experience. Like, at all times, I think we've all kind of have something a little bit lingering.
Yeah.
This is obviously quite more significant than just something a little bit lingering. I don't want to dumb it down, but yeah, like we tape it up good, and we're getting through with it, and it's slowly improving. I'm kind of walking that fine line of riding enough and not making my knee worse. So, but yeah, I mean, we're doing good with it. Heat wins, a couple second places, so it's working. Leg still works.